How's everybody doing? Good? I certainly got fortunate tonight that I got to follow everybody after the cocktail party, right? Has to make me exponentially better. This is going to be interactive right off the bat. Shout out to me your answer. There's no right or wrong answer. What does the word entrepreneur mean to you? Risk. Freedom. Courage. Innovation. Determination. Passion. Opportunity. Liberty. Comfort. Sometimes. Terrified. That's a perfect word to end on. Fear. That's a good transition word. The word entrepreneur actually comes from the French verb entreprendre, to undertake. Right? And I think all of you sitting in this room right now can understand that. As entrepreneurs, that is our job. That is what we do. Right? We're willing to do the heavy lifting. We're willing to go out. We're willing to undertake. That's also what we do when we come to events like this, right? These are the events that are hard. You've got emails, you've got office, you've got staff, you've got kids. But being able to spend 2 days at an event like this is really what undertaking is all about. It's how we take that business to the next level, right? You'll be better business owners tomorrow than you were last week. And as entrepreneurs, that's what we do. So why am I here? As a keynote speaker, my job is to tell you my story. My job is to deliver to you that journey that I've been on as an entrepreneur. What did I do? How did I start? Why did I make the decisions that I made? When did I go left? When did I go right? That's what an effective keynote speaker, I believe, will do. They'll deliver that story that entrepreneurs are thriving for. They want to hear exactly how someone else did that. And as entrepreneurs, we can maybe take away 1 or 2 parts of somebody's story and take them back to their own business and apply that and hopefully have some impactful change. Because that's why you're here for these 2 days, right? You're here to take something away and take it back to your business and have some impactful change on your organization. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, my journey began when I was 13 years old. How many of you in here have heard of the candy crybabies? The sour, awful candy, right? As a 13-year-old boy, those were very appealing for some reason, and me and my friends were taking that candy like it was absolutely no tomorrow. And I noticed that candy was being passed back and forth for my friends. And I thought, well, I can go find that candy at the gas station. I can sneak it in my book bag, bring it back to school, and I'll sell it. Right? So I go to the local gas station, I pick up a bucket of it, I take it back to school, sell out of it. Go back to the gas station, buy another bucket of it, take it back to school, sell out of it. I conned my mother into driving me to Sam's Wholesale. Who knows Sam's Wholesale? Been to Sam's? That's the place you go to buy a ridiculous amount of anything, right? Way more than you could ever need. And so I go to Sam's Wholesale, buy a ridiculous amount of it, put it in my bag, sell out of it. So I learned early on that I really had a passion for business. I knew I wasn't very good at sports, never was really good with the ladies, but I maybe understood how to make $1. I also understood about business regulations because it was the ending of my candy business when the school administrator came up, took the bag of candy away. Right? Business 101, you gotta pay the man. So that was the end of the crybaby business. By 16, I started a car wash business in my hometown called Complete Auto Detail. By the time I graduated from high school, I had 2 employees. I had 100 pretty influential customers in my hometown that were my regular customers. We would service those. We would have a mobile aspect of the business, pick the car up, take care of it, bring it back to them. Right? Pretty simple model. But by the time I was 18 and looking to graduate, I was just going to close the business down and move off to college. But I had an employee come to me and he said, Stewart, wait a minute. Before you do that, I'm staying in Macon, you're leaving. Why close this business down? I'll buy your customer list, I'll buy your equipment. You write a letter to all these customers and transition it to me. So the first lesson I'll really share with you there, at least in my own journey, is never underestimate the employees that are around you, that are on your team. You never know when they're looking for an opportunity. You've got to have an exit strategy. You've got to have a plan. And sometimes that exit strategy can include those employees that are closest to you. Never underestimate those employees that are on your team. So off to the college I went to the College of Charleston. Side note, it's also known as Harvard on the Harbor. Went to Harvard on the Harbor, studied business, loved that city. By the time I was looking to graduate, I was entering my senior year, and I took a class in the business school called Seminar in Entrepreneurship. Now, this class was taught by no ordinary professor. This was taught by a businessman, Mr. Tommy Baker. And Tommy taught this class really because he had a love for kids and entrepreneurs and just a passion for teaching entrepreneurship. Now, I went to sign up for this class. You don't go to any ordinary professor's class. This gentleman owned Baker Automotive Group. His office was at the top of the Mercedes-Benz dealership he owned, which was next to his Porsche dealership, next to his Land Rover dealership, beside his Infiniti dealership, and the Maserati dealership as well. Right, so this was our professor. And every week he would bring in a business contact of his that would just share their business goal with us, right? These students, we were just absolutely enamored week after week after week. And finally, on the docket, I had Tommy coming on board to be the speaker. He was going to share his story, right? This was towards the end of the semester, and he had really become a mentor of mine. So I was looking and couldn't wait for his story. So his story begins, and by the time he gets to the end, I've written down pages of notes we all had in this class. And he got to the end of his journey, and he said, I want to share with you all some truisms. It's what Tommy called it. He said, this is what I know to be true about business. And he rattled off his first few, and he ended with one I'll never forget. It impacted me all the way to today. He said, students, remember this. He said, I like big ships, and I like small ships. I like pretty ships, and I like ugly ships, but I don't like partnerships. And I'm writing it down, right? It's just absolutely gold. However, I tell you, I stand here today, looking back on my last 15 years in business, that I've spent disproving that. I feel like that my journey has been centered around partnerships. I feel like my journey is centered around the power of partnerships, leveraging those relationships that are with those closest to you to be better than you ever could on your own. How 1 + 1 could equal 3. That's that Harvard on the Harbor math, right? But if you think about what that means, you have relationships, and our keynote speaker earlier, I loved the latter half of his presentation, was about just that. Those relationships and those connections that you form in life and in business. They're all around you. And it's all about how you leverage those and how you put yourselves in those places to partner up, team up, find opportunities, and go further together than you ever could on your own. So my business, how in the world did I get in the pool business? I get that question a lot. I was graduating from college. I was 22 years old. I knew that I wanted to start a business, right? It wasn't going to be a candy business. I'd been there and done that with the car washing business. I thought, okay, what business can I possibly start? And this is really where my business journey began. So, was driving back through Macon towards the end of my senior year, and I stopped into one of my former car wash customers. Remember that. Always keep in contact with your contacts. I stopped back into his office and I said, look, I'm looking to start my own business. I'm about to graduate. Do you have any ideas? Do you have anything that I could do? And he said, Stewart, if you'll go back and do the research, he said, I don't know anything about the swimming pool business, but if you'll go back and do the research, figure it out, bring it back to me. If there's an actual business there in my hometown of Macon, he said, I'll back you. I'll be your guy. I'll loan you the money. You be the operating partner. And so I did. That whole way back, I'm making phone calls. I'm doing market research. And I'm realizing there is a real opportunity in Macon, Georgia for a swimming pool cleaning, repair, and renovation company. And so by the time I got home, I called him. And I said, I'm absolutely in. I'm interested. Let's do this. So I spent the next few months back and forth constantly to Macon and Charleston and Macon and Charleston. I worked on the weekends, learning how to learn this business, doing the market research. He calls me 3 days before we form our LLC. He says, Stewart, I appreciate everything you've done, man. You've done an incredible job, and we really appreciate it. But you're too young, you're too inexperienced, and you've never run a real business. So we're going to move in a different direction. Thank you, but you're out. So I hung up the phone. I mean, I'm 22 years old. I did what most anybody would do at that moment. I sit down on the floor, I take a minute, I call home, right? Phone rings, Dad. I said, look, here's the deal, man. Here's what just happened. Kick in the gut moment. I didn't know what to do. I said, I'm going to start this business anyway. I've done all the work. I've done all the research. I've been doing this. I've put all the plans together. I know the deal. Now, you got to understand my father, pediatrician, very conservative baby doctor, put himself through college. He says, Stewart, let me tell you something, son. You can do just about anything you want to do, but you're not going to go into competition against these men. Here's what could happen. Here's the downside risk. They are going to squash you like a bug. Think about all of these things and all of these problems that are going to come by you trying to compete with these giants. And I gave him his due time. I listened to him for a few minutes, and I paused, and I said, Dad, I appreciate everything you've said. Will you please put Mommy on the phone? That's true. That's true. Thank you, Mom. And he did. He did, and about 60 seconds later, she handed the phone back to him, and I got $3,000 that I needed to start a business. That's true. That's a fact. So, I took a little bit of startup capital, I scraped it together, I moved back home 3 days before I graduated, back as quick as I can because I thought I was going into business against these two giants, right, that had kicked me to the curb. So my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, she's helping me. We're trying to come up with business names. We're scouring the phone book. We're coming up with different iterations of different names, back and forth. Everything we came up with, though, we knew had to start with an A. Why? In the phone book. For those under 30, the phone book is this thing that used to be open, and you flip the page, and you find businesses. Right? So I had to be A. I had to be first in the phone book as a service business. And I was, so I started All Seasons Pool Company. That's where the A, the S, and the P originally came from. And that was spring 2002, and I launched the business. We had great success in my Macon market because we were doing things a little bit better than the next guy. Right? These gentlemen that were in the pool business in Macon before me just never took care of their customers. They never gave anybody those peak moments. They never had those experiences. They were just run-of-the-mill and going through the motions. And so that's simply what we did, one day at a time, and took one customer after another. We doubled the business year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3, year 3 to year 4. We did $1 million in revenue in our 4th year in business, and I said, this is a model that I think could work in other cities. To do that, though, I had to have a key employee that was in place. And so my first employee that came to work for me that was a key employee was named Matt Dayton. Good friend of mine. He graduated from college and he put in a couple years alongside me, helping me grow that business. And he came to me one day and he said, Stewart, I've got to sit down and talk to you. We got to have that talk. And I said, that's like your girlfriend coming to you and saying that. I said, okay, what's the deal, Matt? He said, I've got to move on. I've been cleaning pools for you for 2 years. My dad's on my butt. I've got to go get a real job, right? And okay, thanks. So we each took the night and I said, hang on a minute, let me come up with something. So the next day I came to him and I said, Matt, what if I offered you 25% of this business? Would you stay? You'd no longer be an employee. You'd be a partner. You'd be vested. Now, I gave that up, but what I gained, again, was I took an employee and became partners with that individual. That employee was no longer an employee. That employee was now an owner. He took that opportunity, went back to his father. He was able to deliver the great news to him. Hey, I'm now a business owner, no longer an employee. Looking back on my business journey, again, the power of partnerships. How 1 + 1 could equal 3. He got to own his business. I got to go and focus on expansion. And the franchising concept was born. I spent about 3 months and studied it. That was a way that we could have the ultimate 1 + 1 = 3. We're taking our roadmap that we're writing out for a franchisee. We're taking our playbook that we're writing out for them, and we're delivering to them a packaged business. And so ASP franchising was born. Second location turned into third, turned into fifth, turned into 10th. After about 1.5 years, 10 locations, I had to make a decision. Was I going to be Stewart in Macon, the pool guy, or was I going to be Stewart that was leading a franchise organization and teaching people real business, going to their markets, helping them grow? And so again, I was at another crossroads. in my career. I went back to Matt. I said, Matt, this is the crossroads. This is what we're going to do. We're either going to sell ASP of Macon, or I'll sell you the rest of the company if you're interested. And he took a few days and came back with a plan, and he ended up buying me out of ASP of Macon so that I could take that capital and put all the chips in to form the franchising company. Again, another example of how an employee could potentially be your exit strategy or your growth strategy. Another example of 1 + 1 = 3. He got to do what he really dreamed of, which was controlling his own business and having it completely to himself. I got to take that capital, inject it in a franchise company, and go. And that was about 2007. We continued growing from there. We doubled again that year, put in another 10 or 15 locations, doubled again the next year. I was at a crossroads again, about 2009. I knew as the franchisor, I had to be able to really continue to grow this company. And so I had a friend of mine that came to me and said, Stewart, he was a tax attorney named Tom Swift. And he said, Stewart, I'm at this crossroads in my legal career. I'm looking to get out and I want to go own my own business. I want to go work for myself. Well, at that same time, I knew I could really use a tax attorney, right? I could really use an operator. I could really use somebody that's vested in this company with me. And so I took that same opportunity back to Tom and I said, what if I offered you a piece of the franchise company? Would you leave your legal career? Would you come on board with me and we can grow this company together? And in 2009, that's what he did. And I'll tell you, looking back, that's really the birth of the franchising company. That really was hands down the biggest risk that I ever took, selling the local Macon operation, putting all the chips on the table in the franchise company, and then bringing in a partner again on the franchise company. But I told someone the other week, having a partner like that is like having a perfect marriage. Right? You can take two completely opposite people, put them together, and imagine having all of those strengths every single day, working day after day after day to build that same vision, to grow that same common goal of growing the company. And that's exactly what we did. We found ourselves also in a space that really no one else was playing in, and that's very unique, being able to write the roadmap for an industry that really had not existed before. We were one of the first franchise companies in the pool business ever to even make it on an established level. And we've had the fortune of being able to continue to grow and grow and grow to this day. So who are we today? It's very interesting to look at what a franchisor turns into at a certain point. Today we have just shy of 100 franchise owners, I'm very proud to say, in 250 cities throughout the country. What we are today, though, is we're now very different. We're a marketing company. We'll develop, print, and send out almost 2 million pieces of direct mail this coming year. We're a website company. We'll develop, host, and maintain 100 different websites, thousands of pages on the web. We're a social media company. We're a public relations company. We're a technical support company for our franchise owners. Why? Because a franchisor is the ultimate 1 + 1 = 3. It is the pinnacle of the power of a partnership. Taking an individual that wants to be their own boss and that wants to operate their own market, but just needs a roadmap. Taking our backbone, our corporate office, our history, and putting those two things together. And that is leveraging the power of a partnership and both coming out better than we would have on our own. We feel like over the next 4 to 5 years, our company will double in size. We feel like we will be 200 franchise owners strong, 500 cities, 35 states. The only way that is physically, humanly possible is because of the staff that we have at our corporate office. We have tried to go the extra mile and do those things time and time again that allow us to bring on a high caliber individual by showing them an opportunity, by giving them those peak moments. Had a new employee start last week. Had our staff put on a lunch for him, introduce him to every single person, make him feel at home, make him feel part of the family. And I'm hoping that that staff member will follow the same trajectory that I've had now 14 different times. I hired my first corporate staff member 11 years ago. I've never had a single staff member leave our company. Not a single turnover. Time and time again, you've got to create those encore experiences. You've got to go the extra mile, not only for your franchisees, but for your corporate staff as well. And again, that's the only way that we'll grow into the company that I feel like we have the potential to grow into, is because of our corporate staff members. So I'll end by telling you this. If you learn nothing else, maybe take away these 2 key points. Don't ever let a door slammed in your face be the end of the road. Because in business, we have those doors slammed all the time. You never know when that door being slammed in your face will be the greatest thing that ever happened to you. You have no ability to know that until you come out on the other side. Remember that. Also remember the power of partnerships. 1 + 1 can equal 3. I thank you for your time.